Welcome back to Charm and Circumstance. I am your host, Ashley Morgan from Ashley Morgan Interiors. And on this podcast, we talk about all the ways design intersects with real life because our homes are where life unfolds. And how they feel matters just as much as how they look. Today, we're diving into something I believe every home deserves, and that is peace. Not just pretty pillows and curated shelves, but a space that actually lowers your blood pressure when you walk through the door. A home that supports your life and doesn't constantly overstimulate or overwhelm you. So if your home has been feeling chaotic, cluttered, or just off lately, today's episode is for you. Let's talk about how we design homes that feel calm, clear, and livable from the inside out. From floor plans to finishing touches, function to the feeling you get walking into a room. I'm Ashley Morgan, an interior designer with a love for beautiful living and a belief that great design should tell your story. I've spent over 20 years in the industry, and now I'm pulling back the curtain on interiors, sharing insight, inspiration, and the strategy behind well-designed spaces. Expect smart design talk, refined tips, and just the right mix of polish and personality. So pour something sweet and join me for a thoughtful conversation with a generous helping of charm and circumstance. First, let's talk about what causes the stress in your home. Obviously, we can't resolve family issues here, but we hear this all the time from our clients. They come to us because something about their home just isn't working. And more often than not, it's not just one big thing. It's a dozen little things that pile up and make our space feel stressful. Maybe it's the layout, where no one has a place to just sit down and read. Maybe it's the clutter, where your eye never gets a chance to rest. Maybe it's lighting. It's too harsh, it's too dim, or it's just non-existent. Or maybe it's that your home was designed for a season of life that you've already outgrown. The good news is, all of this is fixable. And more importantly, your home should not be just another source of stress. It should be where you decompress, where your nervous system gets to rest. And thoughtful design can absolutely create that. So let's talk about how we do this. When our team at AMI is designing for a low-stress environment, we're paying attention to a few key categories. Number one is a function-first layout. This is always where we begin. If your home doesn't support your daily flow, making coffee, unwinding, hosting, doing homework at the kitchen table, it will never feel calm. We make sure every zone of your home has a purpose and enough room to breathe. So, where are the bottlenecks in the traffic flow in your home? Is it in the kitchen? It's very often in the kitchen. Or is it a certain hallway where maybe a closet doors open or multiple doors open against one another? Is it in the entrance from as you come into the garage and everybody's jostling for a place to get through so they can hang their coats and their backpacks and take off their shoes and set things down? This is often a pain point in many homes. And the great thing is, this can be designed for. Have family members possibly developed some less than ideal habits about setting things that don't belong on the kitchen counters as soon as they come in the house from the garage, or in other places where they don't belong? Well, guess what? Again, this can be designed for. So in that design process, we work through exactly how your daily routine works throughout your house so that we can provide specific spaces for specific behaviors or activities that will then resolve the specific pain points. So, the second thing I would say is comfortable, beautiful seating. It sounds simple, but it's huge. Whether it's a place to sit and read in the morning or a sofa where the whole family sits comfortably at night, comfort matters. We design seating that invites you to stay a while. So, this can also be providing enough seating for the company that you entertain or for the full family to sit around in a specific room. Can also be providing that specific little nook for homework or for work from a home office perspective, or paying bills, or whatever it needs to be. These tasks that often become mundane or avoided, even because there's nothing enjoyable about it. Well, if we can create a space around that activity that can actually be enjoyed, then maybe it won't be so painful after all. Lighting layers. I know I talk about lighting so much, but it is so crucial to a home. And there are so many homes out there that could improve drastically with just lighting alone. When spec homes are built, lighting is just a very one-stop shop fix. They put the grid in the ceiling for pot lights and electrical outlets every so often around a room, and that's it. That's all you've got. But if we can come in and create layers of lighting within your home, within every room, dedicated to the specific tasks that you need to achieve or the way that you function in your house, this is going to make all the difference in the world. Stress often comes from environments that are either overstimulating or dim and disconnected. We add soft overhead lighting, wall sconces, table lamps, and accent lighting to give you control over the mood of your space. There is something to say for setting that tone in the evening and having the space be dimmer and just having some lamp lighting or wall sconces on and having the function of dimmable lighting versus having bright overhead overstimulating light on in the evening when you're trying to unwind. I know this can sound often like a sales pitch, but this is a powerful um, element of design. And there's data to show how lighting affects our mood. And I've talked about this in previous episodes. Think about the difference in going into a retailer, like a warehouse retailer, let's say Walmart, where you've got fluorescent lighting above you. Or you may even have that fluorescent light still in your kitchen or in your laundry room. Many years ago, that was always the go-to, unfortunately. The difference between that and going into a space that has lamp lighting and wall lighting, which would be sconces or art light, and then softer, dimmable overhead lighting, all the difference in the world. Next, and possibly one of the most important components of creating calm in your home, you guessed it, decluttering focal points. Every room needs a moment of clarity. So that could be a piece of art, a beautiful light fixture, or a fireplace that draws you in. When we design, we make sure there's a focal point to anchor the space, not 10 things competing for your attention. Also, that focal point often can be, say it's a fireplace. You don't want 20 little things up on that mantle that are all competing for attention. I've seen this a lot in homes where there's just too much stuff. And that instantly stresses us. It's overwhelming to the eye. It's overwhelming to your soul, for crying out loud. Um, it just, there's nothing calming about it. And I know it's easy to want to display things you love. We all love so many different things, whether you collect them or you just think something is so gorgeous and you want it. But if there is not room to display it properly, it defeats the purpose completely because it only brings chaos instead of the calm that we're seeking. And usually, when it comes to focal points in a room, so whether it's a fireplace again, or a specific wall, or in a bedroom, it would typically be the headboard, is what you would want to be the focal point, or that wall behind the bed. Typically, the larger items on that, the better. You don't want a bunch of little items. You want one larger piece of artwork on the fireplace, or one piece of art over the headboard. But if not, it's just the headboard itself. Maybe a few wall sconces above that for reading purposes, but they're small. Or you drape fabric behind the headboard, and that the fabric all becomes the focal point as it works in conjunction with the headboard. Okay, so next in creating calm would be texture and warmth. We want to add texture and warmth to a space. We add in layered textures, so wools, velvets, I love velvets, natural wood tones to make a space feel grounded. A wool rug on a thick pad is one of our favorite secret weapons. It softens sound, adds comfort, and instantly makes a room feel finished. People are so often afraid of color because it's a commitment. And so they steer towards selecting grays and beiges for their homes. So I see this often when people are selecting their own furniture and they've decorated the room themselves. And so they select the sofa from the retail floor that is either beige or gray because it's neutral, can go with anything. And that's why it's on the retail floor. So it's more broadly appealing to people. So then you put that in your space. Now you're trying to coordinate it with a wall color and a rug color and pillows. And you end up staying with that same neutral and not introducing anything different because it just feels safe. And then what happens is it ends up feeling institutional, like you're in a prison and everything is gray or everything is beige. We want to add color and warmth. And so, yeah, that takes a little risk, but that's also why you hire a designer, somebody with the eye to guide that process and put things together that aren't going to compete, but are going to really cohesively work together and build that calm that you're seeking. Visual boundaries is another aspect of creating calm without chaos. In today's open floor plans that are so popular, stress often comes from a lack of structure. So we create visual zones, maybe with a rug or a pair of chairs or drapery that help your mind know what each space is for. That's when open concept starts to feel relaxing instead of chaotic. You have designated areas or zones within the space. Everything doesn't have to be open to each other. And oftentimes, I think without four walls around all the rooms, the ability to see everything at once can easily become overwhelming when it's not handled well. And that is so popular with today's floor plans on the first floor, with everything outside of maybe a master bedroom that's on that floor being completely open. So it's very important to design these i- spaces that are individualized, complement each other, but serve unique purposes. Okay, so finally, I think the last aspect of creating a calm home while avoiding the chaos is using personalization that's curated, not cluttered. Your home should reflect you, but not every single object that you've ever owned. And I kind of touched on this just a second ago. We help clients display personal items in meaningful, curated ways that feel intentional and not overwhelming. So just because you own it does not mean it should be displayed. With that, I would say as well, if it shouldn't be displayed, there is a good chance that maybe you shouldn't own it either. So this goes both ways. We own way too much here. As we all know, this is a whole other topic that we're not going to get into too much, but we can't own everything. We can't display everything. Your home does not need to be a museum of every single item that you've ever owned. This only creates more chaos. There is no way that you can create calm in that type of an environment. So we want to narrow those items down and very intentionally design around some of them, bring attention to some of them, and that allows you to fully enjoy them and take them in. You cannot do that when you've got 5 or 10 pieces of the same exact item in a room. Okay, so what does all of this look like in the end when we can take each of these components and work them into a design to eliminate that chaos and create more calm? When we do this well, something subtle but powerful happens. People walk into their homes and they exhale. Can you imagine? They tell us it just feels better. That's the magic of low stress design. It's not about minimalism. It's not about perfection. It's about giving your home clarity, warmth, and breathing room. Whether you're working from home, raising a family, or simply just trying to carve out time for yourself, your environment plays a key role. And designing for peace is never a waste. Think of how much more productive your daily activities in your home could be if everything had a place and it wasn't cluttered and you were able to walk in your door and take a deep breath in that calm, relaxing, serene environment. That's what your home should be. So, if this episode resonated with you, I would love to hear from you about what part of your home feels stressful and how you want it to feel. You can message me on Instagram at Ashley_Morgan_interiors or inquire through the link in our bio on Instagram to schedule a consultation. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to Charm and Circumstance wherever you get your podcast. We've got some incredible episodes coming this season, and you can now watch the show on YouTube as well. Also, if you are looking for help or resources in the design of your home, we have got plenty available on our website for you. Complimentary, no strings attached. Would love to get those in your hands. And so I am putting the link in the show notes for those as well. So be sure to check those out. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining me on Charm and Circumstance. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow along on Instagram, because charm is personal and circumstance is what you make of it.